What is going on, my friends? My name's Corrupt, and today we are going to be breaking down for you the brand new reworked lightning spell. We have got 4 replays and 2 attack strategies that you need to know in order to master this spell. We've got Zap Quake, Mass Dragon, and Sui Lalo with the lightning spells. So definitely you don't want to miss those last 2 as we get through the video. Now, of course, the one thing that I want you guys to really understand is that so far we only have ours at level 7. So keep this in mind when you guys are really taking a look at this. A level 8 is totally worth getting, partially because you will be able to take down max level air defenses with 2 lightning spells and 1 quake spell. So keep that in mind when you guys are using this. So as I kind of play it here, I want you guys to kind of get the understanding here of what is entirely going on. So what we're doing is we're doing a split hero. So we're using the queen in order to take down this air defense. So we want her to work her way towards that. On top of this, we're creating the other side of the funnel with the king and the use of the baby dragon. So what we're doing is we're carving this area out as well. So what we're basically trying to do is carve out the outside area here in order to make it a lot easier for us to get right into the base with our dragons. Very simple stuff, very easy stuff, and it's really easy to comprehend. For the most part, though, we want to make sure that we are also understanding the use of the lightning spells. Like you see here, we're using 2 lightning spells and then a quake spell. We're going to use it over here as well. We're going to make sure that we're dropping 2 lightning spells and then that quake spell. Even though it's not going to take it out in this example here, it still gives you guys an idea of what you guys should be doing when you are using this strategy. Those would have been taken out if they were level 8. Either way, though, it's still a good example to show because it shows the power of this even if those weren't taken out. Now, what you want to make sure that you're doing is you are using the queen to take down 1 air defense. Even taking down both air defenses if they're pretty close is definitely a good thing to do as well. But if you can get the 2 back-end ones, this would help tremendously as you get through the base. Now, notice also the pathing here for our dragons. We kind of have something that looks a little bit like this as we're kind of entering into the base. So that's a huge thing. So the pathing is pretty wide. However, it's still going to be very easy to get in. Now, notice how we are going to be using that rage spell to get these dragons right into the enemy CC and also into the Eagle Artillery. And we're going to also pop that ability in order to make sure that we are allowing everything to go through the core and able to keep them staying alive. That's exactly what we're trying to do. You may notice the use of the freeze spells as well. These are going to be used in order to freeze up things like the air defenses here. Since they weren't completely taken out, we have to use them. However, I will say that if you are worried about the Inferno Towers, I would use the freeze against the multi-Infernos or even the single Infernos. On top of this, you'll notice that we have those balloons here going across the base in order to take down this other air defense. And remember how weak they are, especially if they're at level 7. And when those lightning spells are level 7, and as I said, they won't take them down, you'll see from here is that even 1 balloon death damage will take it down, like you see there. Now, of course, it would be very nice to have a free spell here against the multi-inferno. Even though this multi-inferno isn't maxed, it could cause serious problems even if it was. So you got to make sure, though, that you are thinking about that. So if you were to bring freeze, use it up against the multi-infernos, because that's going to help you guys really get through those pesky inferno towers and allow you to get the triple against a lot of different styles of bases. Now, don't forget, we have another example of using the Zap Quake Mass Dragon. However, we're going to be looking at a different variation of this in order to get you guys a little bit more comfortable about using the Zap Quake Mass Dragon. So right here, guys, we've got the use of the Zap Quake, this time only using 2 lightning spells and a quake spell. So in this example here, we're going to be seeing a variety of different things. First of all, we're going to use an E-drag on either side of the base to carve out an area of the funnel. What this does here is it allows us to really get pathing going. So if we're going to be cutting off the base here in terms of creating a funnel, And we're also going to do the same thing on this side. This is kind of our pathing when we enter into the base. We're kind of entering it in like this with the dragon. So it's almost like a funnel here. We're keeping them in the base at all times. On top of this, we also want to take advantage of the use of the dead zone like you see here. So this dead zone is huge because it's going to allow us to keep the dragons in the base, especially after we create the funnel. So it makes sure that they're kind of staying in the base as we kind of enter throughout. So that's a huge thing. We're also going to use a Sui hero, which you will see a little bit later on in this example. But the biggest thing is knowing the use of the E-drags. So you'll see that we're getting a lot of chain value from using the E-drag up top, and even from down over here, we're going to use that E-drag in order to make sure that we are creating the funnel on either side. Now you'll also notice here is that we're using the Quake spell. We're using in the center, damaging as many buildings as we can, but on top of this, we're using the lightning spells to take down the air sweeper. Now, why would we ever do that? Why wouldn't we use it on an air defense? Well, remember, they are only level 7, so we're not guaranteed to take it down, but here's another big thing that can really help us still. Because that sweeper was pointing this direction, we can take advantage now that we don't have to fight an air sweeper and we can enter into the base very simply like that. So that is something that you need to keep in mind when you are using this strategy. You want to make sure that you are keeping the dragons in the base at all times. Now you'll also notice the use of the Sui hero here. We're using the queen and the king in order to take down this air defense. The king as the tank, the queen as the one who's going to take that out, and that's going to allow us to get down the air defense. Now you'll notice as well is we are carving the rest of the base out now for these dragons, and it's going to allow us to get right into the base very easily. You'll see that we're going to use the Warden ability and the Rage in order to allow our dragons to get right in, making sure that we're protecting them as they go into the queen, using that as an anchor and allowing them to get through the CC as well. Now you'll see that we're also using these rage spells very spam-like because we're using them where they're going to be going to. So you'll see how they kind of move themselves in almost like this into the base. So it's something extremely important to keep in mind because that is huge, because you want to make sure that you are using those rage spells and getting the value from them. So that's extremely important. Now, even though it may look like we are starting to thin out, a lot of the dragons just started to move on to the outside. On top of this, we've also got the use of the E-drag in terms of in the Stone Slammer. A little bit different than the other example where we saw the use of the balloons. Instead, we're using the E-drag that's going to help us carve out an area of the base and allow us to kind of clear up a lot of these defensive buildings, especially with some of them being one or even touching in terms of tile spacing. So that's just something to keep in mind. I didn't really know what to say there, but you can still see that it's extremely easy. And this really gives you guys a perfect example of using the dragons in a Zap Quake, whether that be going for air defenses or even going in for the air sweeper. So this gives you guys a really good variety here. But let's move on into our other strategy here, which is going to be Sui hero with the using the lightning spells. Now, guys, we're going to be taking a look at something a little bit different here. We've got a Lavaloon, but not with 5 lightning spells. We've got 7 lightning spells, 2 in the clan castle. So what are we going to be doing with these, you may ask? Well, we're going to try and take down the enemy the Eagle Artillery and the enemy CC. Here's the reason why. We're trying to take down the enemy clan castle in order to make sure that we don't have to worry about that when we're using a Sui hero. And we can take down the eagle because they're fairly close together. We can weaken both of them up since they're basically in the same area. So that way we can easily take them down. So as I kind of play this here, I want you guys to really take a look at what is going down. So we're going to use the lightning spells first. Then we're going to use the Quake, and then the last 2 lightning spells. This is going to be just enough to take down the eagle and the clan castle. Super good stuff there. So what are we doing for the rest of the base? Well, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be dropping in the Ice Golem to tank for the king and queen. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and take down the enemy queen that's on the outside. The main reason here is that if we can carve this area out and have the queen go this way, we can take down an air defense and start our Lavaloon with the Stone Slammer. So that's extremely important. That's exactly what we want to do. So we're going to see here, we're going to first drop in the Ice Golem, then the king, and of course, the enemy, and then the queen. We're trying to get towards the enemy queen as much as possible as we get through this entire base. So we want to make sure that we are allowing ourselves to get to the enemy queen. Once we take her out, though, it's free reign for our queen to get down any defensive buildings like the air defense or even an archer tower here, but it's going to allow us to carve out an area of the base. Now, one of the things I want you guys to really look at here is once we start this slammer, it's going to be kind of going in like this. And when we start our Lavaloon, it's almost like going into a circle. So that's extremely important, something very, very important to keep in mind. So now when we are using this, you want to make sure that you're using a test balloon, a Coco-loon, or two, in order to make sure that we are keeping the slammer alive as we go through, and that this thing stays alive for the entire attack. Now, you notice how we're starting our Lavaloon. I, though, am going to let you guys know that there is a number of balloons that you will need for each of these defenses. So on the left here, you're going to notice the number of balloons per defense. This is very important for your surgical placement. This is extremely important to know, so I would screenshot it, whatever. It's a great graphic, and it really shows the defenses and how many balloons you need, and this is definitely extremely good to know. Now, on top of this, we also want to know the use of the haste spells. So the use of the haste spells is to get to things like the air defenses, like the wizard towers, the expos, the multi-infernos. Those are always going to be extremely important. Now, in this example here, because the Lavaloon cut off the Stone Slammer, we have our Stone Slammer going right in to the Infernos, and that's extremely good, because if we can cut that off, we easily have ourselves free reign for our Lavaloon to go around in a circle while the Stone Slammer clears the core. No matter if there's a sweeper or not, we're easily going to get through that. It's way too tanky for the multi-Infernos. On top of this, you may also notice that we're using these haste spells, like I said, going to those defenses like the wizard towers. On top of this, you may notice the use of the minions too, with the cleanup. Cleanup is extremely important with any Lavaloon. Start it as immediately as you send in your Lavaloon. Make sure that they're able to already take down that first layer of defenses. Then you could definitely drop them in, and it's going to help you because you won't time fail that way. And in this example here, even though the replay wasn't, maybe it was closer to 3, maybe it was closer to 2, but who knows? But it was still a lot quicker than most Sui Lalos here. So it's really, really good to kind of see a different variation of the Sui Lalo. And we've got another example here using this exact same thing, going for both the Eagle and the CC. So let's show you guys that example as well. Now, in this final one, we're seeing another example of using the lightning spells to take care of the Eagle artillery and the CC. This is extremely powerful. It's definitely something that you guys should take advantage of, and especially with the new update here, it is 100% worth trying out in FCs since it won't cost anything. So it's definitely very nice for you guys to try it out. But definitely, this is an extremely powerful method. And you'll see that what we're doing is we're just dropping in the Quake spell first. Then we're dropping in the 7 lightning spells. Like you'll see right here, all 7 of them will take out the enemy CC and the Eagle artillery. It also weakened the queen very slightly, brought her down to half health in order to kind of help with the rest of our Sui. So what we're doing now is we can Sui hero into this section here. We can take care of an air defense or 2, and that would allow us to get something going with the rest of our attack. This is a very simple Sui Lalo, and this is going to be a lot easier for you guys, for those of you who find Sui Lalo a little bit harder. So using these new lightning spells are 100% going to be worth it. Now remember, what you're doing with your Sui Lalo is you are carving out pathing for the entire rest of your Lavaloon. So for instance, like you see here, what we've done is we've kind of cleared this entire section of the base. That whole thing is done. We don't need to worry about that. So what we're doing is we're now going to send our Lavaloon kind of in a clockwise manner, allowing us to get in. So what we're doing is, even though the enemy queen is still up, we can deal with her with the lava pups and the E-drag that we have in the stone slammer. It's extremely important that you guys understand that, because you may want to know how to deal with the enemy queen. Well, dealing with the queen with the lava pups, which should be already being tanked for by the balloons, like you see there. And what this also allows you to do is really just get the Lavaloon better. So basically what I'm saying is here, you're using those haste spells to get to those nearest defenses, like I've said before, and then you're just also trying to make sure that you're taking down the queen, using the warden ability when you really need to. In this case, however, he goes with the E-drag. But over here, you notice how he would have benefited with the Lavaloon if he stayed with the group. However, in this case, it didn't happen, but got very close. And this, even though that this is an FC, this still shows you guys the raw power of that new lightning spell. It is extremely strong, and it's definitely nothing to scoff at. So if you did enjoy this video, remember to leave a like on the video. Let me know if you guys want to see more videos on the new update troops, on the new update strategies and stuff like that, and I will definitely try to bring that to you guys. Also, feel free to go ahead and join my community Discord server. The link to it is in the description below, and the code is on the screen too. Also, feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you guys don't miss anything. And also, don't forget to go ahead and follow me on any social media, including Twitter and Twitch. Those two areas are definitely going to be very good for you guys to follow me on. And other than that, that's going to do it, guys, for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.